Hi, this is Brian Beaulieu, CEO, Chief Economist from ITR Economics, and thank you for joining us for this edition of FedWatch. Today is May 12th, 2023. We're going to take a look at four things today. One, what's new in the Fed news. The April CPI data came out. I want to take a look at that with you. I want to talk about the trend in the PCE price index, excluding food and energy, which is what the Federal Reserve ostensibly really cares about. And then I want to just lightly touch upon the debt ceiling because it's weighing heavily on our mind these days. So in terms of Fed news, on May 9th, Reuters reported that the New York Fed, named John Williams, said that he wouldn't assume that the Fed is done raising interest rates. They're going to do whatever it takes to beat inflation down, not his words, but his sentiment. And they won't hesitate to do that, according to President Williams. And keep that in mind that this is full well knowing that there are weaknesses exposed in banks because of the high interest rates, not good banks, but the bad banks, and the ones holding the commercial real estate loans. And we talked about that already, and the Fed now acknowledges, yep, that's a problem we got to keep an eye on. Tightening credit conditions, we knew that. We talked about that before the banks were even failing, and that's a really sore spot, particularly if corporate profitability isn't rising here in the first quarter, didn't rise in the first quarter. We'll know that soon. Then access to those liquidity markets becomes very important. And if they're tightening those standards, that's bad for the economy. And the Fed, as we reported last week, acknowledges that there is a probability of a recession. They don't call it a possibility anymore, although the president of the Chicago Fed said to Yahoo on Monday, because of the tightening credit markets, or at least a credit squeeze, he said, is beginning. Folks, it's not beginning, it's full blown. I think you have to say that a recession is a possibility. It's not a possibility, sir. It's a probability based on all the facts going on. The slowing in the U.S. economy is continuing, and they're not even sure they want to stop raising interest rates. So let's take a look at that April CPI data, number 2 on our list. The chart you're looking at shows that home prices are coming down. These are for existing home prices, and it's good that those prices are coming down because they shot up too high, and it's going to make it possible for the CPI to continue to come down. The latest data has the 1/12 rate of change at 4.9%, which is obviously still too high for our Federal Reserve, and the 3/12 rate of change has dropped dramatically from 5.8 down to 5.3%. Both of those trends are in steeper than average declines. Question remains, though, are they going to be steep enough for the Federal Reserve, or are they going to get antsy and push interest rates up even higher? The street is saying that they probably won't push interest rates up in June, which means they may do it at the July meeting, and that would be bad news in terms of our forecast anyways, the timing of our forecast. And we're going to look at the PCE price index now, and that's the one that they really focus on, excluding food and fuel, and we ran the trajectory out of that trend because that measure of inflation is also coming down. But the trajectory so far and the probabilities as we assign them for more decline suggests that we're only going to get down to 2.4, 2.5% by mid-2024. And the Fed has been rather adamant about 2.0%. It's rather amazing that they are so adamant about it, but if they just left things alone now, our analysis shows we'll be down to 2.4, 2.5% about a year from now, without having put the economy through a serious recession. It comes down to a question of pain versus patience. In this slide, you're looking at deficit spending on a year-over-year basis, and we're currently down double digits because we're comparing to the pre-COVID level. And that deficit spending leads inflation by 2 full years. So the deficit spending rate of change is pushed 2 years into the future. And it's showing that inflation is going to be coming down and down and down through at least 2024. So if they could just be patient, we're going to get to their 2.5 folks. It doesn't matter whether it's 2 or 2.5. It's an arbitrary number. It was made up by the central bank in New Zealand in the 90s, and it has become very popular with central bankers. But there's no statistical difference between 2 and 2.5% in terms of the effect on the economy, the prosperity of the economy. So to drive to 2.0 when you're at 2.5 is just nonsense. Anyways, they could be patient, we're going to get there, or they could be impatient and drive that number down when this chart that you're looking at says we're going to get there if we could just be a little bit patient. We'll have to see. We'll watch their videos, we'll listen to their words, we'll read their reports. Maybe there's enough slowdown developing. There's certainly been a significant drop in job openings. We're back on trend with the pre-COVID trend. People are quitting a lot less than they were before. Wage rates should be coming down. All the things are in motion that should satisfy this Federal Reserve without hurting the economy even more. The last thing I wanted to touch upon real quickly is the debt ceiling. Crunch time is rapidly coming upon us. I don't think they're going to solve anything between now and next Friday, so we'll make that a major topic for next Friday. Suffice it to say that it's never been defaulted on, at least since the British burned down the Treasury building in the War of 1812. We have never defaulted on our debt. And to do so now would be criminal negligence on the part of the administration and the Congress. But that doesn't mean it won't happen. So we're still looking into that. We've already looked into what the Federal Reserve had devised for a backup plan in 2011 when this happened to President Obama and that Congress. And we'll take that apart some more and report on that next Friday, if need be. Thank you for joining me for this edition of FedWatch. I hope you have a good week.